Here we go. From the land of the rising sun comes week-long coverage of the 2008 Tokyo Game Show. X-Play's in Japan to bring you all the earth-shaking news and explosive new games from Asia's largest video game convention. We've got the very latest on the biggest games from TGS. Halo 3 Recon, Bayonetta, Ninja Blade, Tenchu 4, White Knight Chronicles, and Resident Evil 5. Plus, only X-Play has the world broadcast premiere of Gears of War 2 multiplayer. You won't see this hardcore action anywhere else on television. We'll take you onto the show floor to witness the madness yourself and talk to the heaviest hitters in the business. This is the future of gaming. This is X-Play at the Tokyo Game Show, and it starts now.
Hello and welcome to X-Play at the 2008 Tokyo Game Show, presented by Max Payne, in theaters October 17th. I'm Morgan Webb, coming to you from the show floor in, you guessed it, Tokyo, Japan. Today kicks off 4 days of coverage of TGS. There are over 800 games here from 200 companies, and we've got the biggies. Now, coming up, we've got your first look at a new episode in one of the largest franchises in gaming. It's Halo 3 Recon. Then it's a Ninja double feature. First, we take you inside the just announced Tenchu 4 for the Wii, followed up by Ninja Blade. We have got your all-access look at this fast-paced hack and slasher for the 360. But first, I am gonna fight the crowds and head over to Sony's booth to see what we can get our hands on. And as you can see, it is just packed to the gills, full of people dying to get their hands on the latest titles. Now, as you're going to see, it does have a lot of titles geared towards Western audiences, but there are some that are squarely aimed at the denizens of Tokyo as well. Let's see what they have cooking. Now, I know it seems like a quintessentially American game, but SOCOM Confrontation is pretty popular here in Japan too. It's out very soon, and you know what? Their beta test was huge. It broke all kinds of records for attendance. Way of the Samurai 3 takes place before the Edo period in Japan. Of course, feudal Japan, samurais are everywhere. Now you, as the player, have a choice. There are 3 factions surrounding you, so you can choose which faction to go to, or you can just play rogue. Now, it's all about action, all about swordplay, and you'll be seeing it very soon. Now, this may look just like a button masher hack and slash, but Demon's Souls actually does have RPG elements and strategy. You do have to pick your weapons. Right now I have a flaming sword, which is awesome. They actually have Home playable here on the show floor. Now, Home is Sony's really answer to the Xbox Live Arcade. It's a world where you can run around and meet your friends, and you're going to have a home and a closet where you can change your clothes and be able to interact with your friends and the games in a sort of virtual world. Now, they actually have playable here. They have a closed beta going on right now. By the end of 2008, they're going to have an open beta, so you're going to get it on your PlayStation 3 very soon. Also on the floor here at Sony, yet another Gran Turismo prologue.
Gran Turismo Prologue Spec 3 will be bundled with the 80GB PlayStation 3. In this prologue, the arrangement has been simplified to make it easier for first-time users when they start to play.
From the look of things, it's clear that Sony is in for more than just a little big year. Alright, I know what you want, but we're going to get to Halo 3 Recon in just a second. First, let's enter a rift in time and head over to Los Angeles, where Adam has all of the day's top headlines in the Gaming Update.
New attendance records have been set for this year's Tokyo Game Show. the event's organizer announced a total attendance of 194,000. That number just barely tops last year's record attendance of 193,000. Numbers for the first 2 business days of the 4-day event were lower than last year's, but both of the event's public days were well above last year's totals. I blame Square Enix. Blizzard rocked the real-time strategy world of BlizzCon 2008, where they announced that StarCraft 2 will consist of 3 standalone titles. No, these won't be expansions. Separate SKUs will be released for each faction in the game. The first title in the trilogy will be called StarCraft 2 Terrans, Wings of Liberty. Second in line will be StarCraft 2 Zerg, Herd of the Swarm. And finally, StarCraft 2 Protoss, Legacy of the Void. Each entry of the trilogy is expected to be around the size of the original StarCraft. And finally, Ultima and Tabula Rasa creator Richard Garriott, aka Lord British, has blasted into space. After paying a reported $30 million for a 10-day trip to the International Space Station, Garriott hopped aboard a 3-stage Russian-built rocket for the trip. The notorious game designer began training for the mission back in January and plans to carry out experiments on behalf of companies who helped pay for his ticket. And that's it for the gaming update. Now keep your iPod fed with the latest TGS 08 videos and download G4 Special TGS podcast. Check out the X-Play feed at g4tv.com/podcast. Right now, let's send it back over to Morgan.
Thanks, Adam. Now, believe it or not, at this year's TGS, it's Microsoft. Yeah, you heard that right. Microsoft's been one of the biggest surprises. Last month, the 360 outsold the PS3 in Japan, and this year's TGS keynote was given by Microsoft's John Schaeffer. Along with Bungie, they announced a brand new chapter in the Halo series, Halo 3 Recon. Here's your first look. Halo 3 Recon is being described as an expansion to the series. Instead of playing as Master Chief, you'll guide an orbital drop shock trooper through the events that occur roughly between the second and third entries in the trilogy. If you're a die-hard Halo fan, you probably have a lot of questions right about now. Fortunately, we got an expert to fill us in. All right, I'm here with Brian Gerard from Bungie, and you guys had a little bit of an announcement here at TGS.
Absolutely. Halo 3 Recon, it's now out in the open. It's the sort of the expansion to Halo 3, and it'll be coming out in stores next fall. It's not the Bungie way just to kind of do more of the same, and we know our fans have been clamoring for just more Halo content, but we're going to give it to you in a twist this time. And you won't be a Super Spartan, you'll actually be an ODST. Which means you're going to have to be a little more cautious and careful in your battles because you're no longer an invulnerable super soldier.
Halo 3 Recon picks up at an interesting moment in the Halo trilogy.
In Halo 2, as Master Chief is leaving the planet following the Covenant towards Delta Halo, they set off a slipspace rupture. It annihilates the city, and that's the events that sort of triggered today's trailer that we showed. So you will actually be an ODST dropped into the city after the Covenant have already occupied it, destroyed it, and left. And you're trying to sort of piece together what's happened. Meanwhile, Master Chief's light years away fighting the Covenant.
At Bungie's presentation, they dispelled rumors that the game would feature cameos from well-known characters. They also dismissed inaccurate early reports that Recon would be a squad-based shooter a la Rainbow Six. But they had good news for fans wanting more multiplayer action.
Recon's going to include new multiplayer maps for Halo 3. They're sort of traditional Halo 3 multiplayer. Several new maps on the way, including the Mythic Map Pack, which actually will be available on Marketplace early next year.
According to Bungie, Halo 3 Recon will be sold as a standalone disc that is sold in brick-and-mortar stores. You won't need to own a copy of Halo 3 to play. Do you guys have sort of a window that we're expecting to see this game out?
All we know right now is it'll be out next fall, and as soon as that sort of gets firmed up, we'll definitely be making that announcement.
For Halo Maniacs, next fall can't come soon enough. Be sure to watch as 4 G4 viewers compete for Ninja Glory in Ninja Fest 3. On November 12th, you'll see Attack of the Show's Kevin and Olivia run the course and experience never-before-seen helmet cam views of the action. Then G4 hits you with 5 brand new back-to-back episodes, followed by our American Ninja wrap-up show. So don't miss Ninja Fest 3 on November 12th. Go to g4tv.com/Ninja Warrior for details.
X-Play is at TGS 2008, and there's still more to come. We practice our aim with throwing stars to warm up for Tenchu 4 on the Wii. Then we prove there's no problem a sword can't solve as we check out Ninja Blade. Plus, we engage in some covert operations when we show you the exclusive TGS trailer for SOCOM Navy SEAL Confrontation. All this and more. Stay put.
Welcome back to X-Play's coverage of TGS 2008. Now at this year's show, one of gaming's stealthiest franchises is making a comeback. Now Acquire, who is the original developer behind the Tenchu series, is returning to the Ninja game for the first time since 2000. Ubisoft has brought them back to the fold for Tenchu 4, which is coming soon to the Nintendo Wii. Here's your first look. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate this look at Tenchu. Which team is making this game?
In making Tenchu 4, we've decided to return to the original team, the staff from Acquire, and with this wanting to have various updates in the game and various changes, but we still want to stick with the theme of the first Tenchu.
And so what are some of the new features for Tenchu 4?
The biggest difference from previous games in the Tenchu series is we focused on making the character's face and body more realistic, and the lethal attacks are more realistic in how they're depicted in the game. We went and researched real ninja techniques. Compared to the previous Tenchus, which had almost these really stylized anime slashing and kills, this is a much more realistic take on the whole series.
I wanted to talk about the mind's eye. We haven't seen that before. It's a new feature, so how does that work?
In Tenchu 1, 2, and 3, it was difficult to know where an enemy was in relation to you. Now in Tenchu 4, we've incorporated ninja powers that allow you to use your mind's eye to locate the position of the enemies around you. What happens is the enemy will appear in red, and you will know his location by the color. It will also show you viable hiding places, because it will change colors to let you know where you can hide.
So how does the combat work?
The style of sword fighting has changed from the past, in that before, if the enemy attacked, it was pretty straightforward that he would be able to inflict damage. However, now you're able to defend. If he does a lateral strike with the sword, you can defend by doing a vertical block. If he does a vertical strike, you can defend with a lateral block by moving the Wii Remote control. It acts like Rikimoto's sword, so it becomes more realistic in that you can move it like that. Of course, when you're on the ground and you're facing the enemy, you fight him face to face. However, depending on your environment, if you're hiding, Rikimoto can do things like drop from above and do a heel drop. He can hide from below and pull the enemy down and strangle him. He can pull the enemy around the corner and kill him, so depending on the scene and where you're hiding, that would differ the way you're able to kill an enemy.
From Software is responsible for all of the 21st Century Tenchu games, and now they've left the series to develop their own ninja franchise. Ninja Blade features a mysterious hack and slashing warrior prowling the streets of Tokyo, made extra cinematic and glamorous thanks to cutscenes provided by Production IG. Here's your all-access look at the Xbox 360 exclusive.
If you're fiending for some over-the-top ninja on monster action, then From Software has your fix. Like a syringe of adrenaline plunged into the center of your chest, Ninja Blade is pure kinetic energy that'll get your heart pounding from the moment this ninjutsu master starts his ass-kicking mid-air acrobatics.
The setting of Ninja Blade is the town of Tokyo. Because of the parasites there, all the humans and animals have turned into zombies, and there are a huge amount of monsters being generated. That's how the story begins.
Fighting these abominations isn't an easy task, even for a ninja who can dive face first from a helicopter and land without a scratch. Start digging into his bag of deadly discipline and you'll find some special skills to help eradicate zombie kind. One of these abilities is Ninja Vision. When the threat level reaches blood red, you can take it down a notch by slowing the pace and getting a jump on your adversaries. It also points out the chinks in your enemy's armor. Once you find the weak points, it's time to use your deadly arsenal to deal the death blow.
The main character has 3 types of weapons to use in combat. The first is a straight blade, and you can make consecutive attacks using this weapon. The second type of weapon is the dual sword, which is a shorter weapon, but you can make speedy attacks with this weapon, and you can also extend the wire of this weapon so you can make attacks against enemies flying through the air or enemies that are far away from you. The third weapon is the big heavy sword, and this has a very destructive power.
From Software is looking to destroy more than Shield. They want to smash the conventional pacing of the action genre by keeping the killing going through the sections of a game where you might typically be making yourself a sandwich.
Basically, in the game, the concept was we wanted to make a cinematic action game. So rather than just having cutscenes like a movie, we wanted to include them as part of the gameplay.
You'll be able to check out all the techniques that Ninja Blade is bringing to the table on the Xbox 360 next spring.
Comic books have been getting a lot of love at the movies lately. Well, games are left in the cold, but don't worry, it's not for long. Everyone's favorite two-gun, slow-mo shooting detective is hitting the big screen in Max Payne. And we sat down with director John Moore for his take on the flick.
Video games and movies. It hasn't always been a noble friendship, but Max Payne has plans to change all that. Will Max Payne, the game, work as a movie?
The game feels cinematic, and I think that was intentional, and they seem to have imbued the game with a lot of what's great about cinematic tradition. So they did a lot of the heavy lifting for me, I gotta be honest. So I think the challenge was, how do we transfer the atmosphere of the game to bring that over to the movie effectively?
The game has such a passionate fan base, almost fanatical. How will Max Payne appeal to the hardcore gamer out there watching right now, blogging his thoughts?
Everything's a challenge. Just, for Mark to become Max is a challenge. For Mila to become Mona. For the city to breathe life. It was worth following some of the rules that the game has visually, because if someone says to me, that looks like the game, I think that's a good thing.
But what about Mark Wahlberg? Does he bring the pain to Max Payne?
He made my job very easy because he looks so right. He carries himself so right, the way he holds his weapon, the way he carries his body. It's all right on the money. I don't think people will ever be able to think of Max without seeing Mark in their mind. Mark is Max and will forever be.
Max Payne will be bullet timing its way into theaters October 17th.
And be sure to tune in to X-Play this Thursday for an exclusive new clip from Max Payne. Now when X-Play returns, we've got an exclusive trailer for the game everyone wants to play. And I'm not talking about a new animal game with a Z at the end. Get ready for SOCOM Confrontation. We'll have more from Tokyo right after this. TGS 2008. The Navy SEALs are back in action again. SOCOM Confrontation is a gorgeous-looking online shooter that puts you right in the heat of battle. Here's the exclusive new trailer.
We are assembled here today, a brotherhood of unparalleled skill. You are part of an elite group, unlike any other. A group that has accepted the responsibility to uphold the honor of this SOCOM nation. You've come from around the world, eager to show you belong. You have the ability, you have the tenacity, you have the discipline. You are ready. This confrontation will not be an easy one, but there is no other place we would rather be. Today is our opportunity to prove to the world that we are the ultimate special ops warriors. Trust your instincts. The respect and confidence that you have in the team fighting at your side is what separates you from the rest. It is what will make you legendary. When we march onto that battlefield, we march as a team. When we fight the opposition, we fight as a team. And when we win the battle, we win as a team. Today is the day you step forward. Today is the day you become one with many. Today is the day that nothing will hold you back. And when we have finished, we can roar in unison so that the world may hear. Alone, I am lethal. As a team, I dominate.
X-Play's Tokyo Game Show 08 coverage isn't over. You can catch even more tomorrow night. We'll continue bringing you the latest gaming innovations with on-site coverage straight from Japan. We'll have the world broadcast premiere of Gears of War 2 multiplayer. See the brutal carnage here first. Then we'll go all access with White Knight Chronicles, the long-awaited RPG from Level 5. Plus, we'll bring the fight to the Chimera in our first look at the killing frenzy known as Resistance Retribution. And we'll take you inside Quantum Theory, Tecmo's wild new shooter for the PlayStation 3. G4's 4 days of TGS 08 coverage continues tomorrow night at 8. Don't miss it.
That is it today from Tokyo, but stick around because there is more X-Play coming up right now.